birth of the Sun and the solar system, how Sun is formed. The clouds of gas and material that orbit new stars are the source of planet formation. The conditions were ideal for the formation of Earth and the other planets in our solar system billions of years ago. The solar system in which we reside is composed of a medium-sized star, the Sun, and 8 planets that orbit it. There are 2 distinct categories of planets. Mercury, Venus, Earth, and Mars are the 4 interior planets, which are the closest to the Sun. They are composed primarily of metals and rocks and are reduced in size. The 4 outer planets, Jupiter, Saturn, Uranus, and Neptune, are primarily composed of gases and are larger. What are planets? From what source did they originate? What is the reason for the distinction between gaseous and rocky? What is the nature of our planet? To address these inquiries, this essay will endeavor to provide an answer. The origin of the Sun. We should briefly review the process by which our star was created. A massive cloud was suspended in one of the spiral arms of the Milky Way galaxy 5 billion years ago. This cloud, which astronomers refer to as a nebula, was composed of dust and gas, primarily hydrogen and helium, with a relatively minor proportion of heavier atoms. These heavier atoms had been formed earlier in the history of the universe, when other stars aged and perished. The cloud nebula commenced to contract, ultimately collapsing in on itself. The heat was generated as the atoms began to agitate each other after being separated. The atoms collided more frequently and violently as the temperature increased. Eventually, they attained a temperature that triggered the fusion of the protons at the atom centers, a process known as nuclear fusion. A star was created as a result of the transformation of a small amount of matter into a vast amount of energy. This was the process by which our Sun was formed, the origin of the planets. A flat disk of dust and gas was formed by the material in the nebula that was not absorbed by the Sun, which was held in orbit by the Sun's gravity. This disk is referred to as an accretion disk. The disk's material has been accumulated through further accretion, which has resulted in its adhesion. In the accretion disk, each planet originated as microscopic fragments of dust. Larger particles were formed as the atoms and molecules began to accrete or adhere to one another. Using gentle collisions, certain grains aggregated into spheres, which subsequently evolved into objects with a diameter of 1 mile, known as planetesimals. The size of these objects was sufficient to attract others through gravity, rather than by coincidence. The objects could be shattered if planetesimals collided at high velocities. However, the objects merged and expanded when the impacts were sufficiently moderate. These protoplanets orbited the Sun for a period of 10 to 100 million years, with some of them forming egg-shaped circuits that led to more frequent collisions. A dramatic period occurred during which worlds collided, combined, and evolved. The 8 stable planets that had cleared their orbits remained after the event. A planet is a body that orbits the Sun, is sufficiently substantial to make it spherical by its gravity, and has cleared its immediate vicinity of smaller objects. Our solar system was thoroughly formed 4.568 billion years ago, according to researchers at the University of California, Davis, in 2007. This was accomplished by ascertaining the age of stony materials from the asteroid belt. Stellar winds, which are a consistent flux of energy and particles, were emitted by the Sun. The winds were so powerful that they removed the majority of the gases from the 4 planets closest to the Sun. resulting in a reduced size and the preservation of only their rocks and metals. This is the reason they are referred to as rocky or terrestrial planets. The ice and elements of the 4 outer planets were unable to be blown away by the sun's winds due to their great distance. They continued to be gaseous, with only a small rocky nucleus. Initially, they were composed of a greater amount of gas, specifically hydrogen and helium, due to the sun's gravitation, which had drawn the heavier materials in the original solar disk closer. An area containing millions of asteroids, small rocky, icy, and metallic bodies that were left over from the establishment of the solar system, is situated between the inner and outer planets. This region did not produce any planets. According to astronomers, the gravity of Jupiter had such a significant impact on this region that a large planet couldn't form. Jupiter is 11 times the diameter of Earth and more than twice as large as all other planets combined. It is almost enormous enough to have become a star. Mercury, which is approximately 2/5 the size of Earth, is the smallest of the 4 solid planets. Mars is approximately 1/2 the size of Earth and Venus. Astronomers hypothesize that Mercury's mantle was vaporized by a smaller object, resulting in a larger than average iron core. Earthly circumstances. The rocky planets were primarily composed of molten granite during their initial formation. They gradually chilled throughout hundreds of millions of years. Mercury and Mars eventually solidified and became rigid to the extent of their centers due to their limited size. Conditions have only remained in an intermediate state on Earth and possibly on Venus. The Earth has maintained a partial molten state. Its mantle is rigid in a short time, and its crust is solid rock. However, the mantle moves at a glacial pace throughout geological time. The Earth's core is composed of a solid iron nucleus that is rotating within a hot liquid known as magma. The term Goldilocks conditions is employed by certain scientists and big historians to characterize the conditions on Earth. This is derived from the Anglo-Saxon children's tale Goldilocks and the Three Bears. In the narrative, a young girl named Goldilocks inadvertently enters the residence of 3 bears who are absent. She tests their porridge, chairs, and beds, determining that some are too hot or too cold, too hard or too soft, too large or too tiny, while one is just perfect. The Earth is the perfect environment for life to thrive, as it is neither too hot nor too frigid, neither too large nor too small, nor too close to the sun nor too far away. Moon of Earth. The moon is the geological object that is closest to us. From what source did it originate? That is an excellent inquiry. The moon is not a planet because it orbits Earth, not the sun. The moon is approximately 1/4 the size of Earth. The moon's origin remains shrouded in mystery. However, the return of rock and sediment samples by astronauts in 1969 has provided us with a greater understanding of the moon. The conventional view today is that a minor planet, approximately 1/10 the size of Earth, must have collided with Earth approximately 4.45 billion years ago. The Earth was still red hot beneath a potentially thin new crust. Some of the material from the impact was absorbed into the liquefied Earth, while some ricocheted into space, where it settled into orbit and condensed as the moon. Initially, the moon's orbit was significantly closer to Earth. It continues to recede at a rate of nearly 2 inches, 4 centimeters per year. Conditions on Earth are substantially influenced by the moon. The Earth was inclined on its axis as a result of the impact that created the moon. This is the reason for the seasonal fluctuations in Earth's temperature, as the side that is tilted toward the sun for 1/2 of the year's voyage around the sun receives more direct sunlight. Additionally, the moon's gravitation induces the oceanic tides, diminishes the Earth's wobble, which contributes to climate stabilization, and slows the Earth's rotation. The Earth's axis used to rotate in 12 hours. However, it now requires 24 hours. Pluto and beyond. Before 2006, pupils were instructed that the solar system contained 9 planets, not 8. Pluto, the 9th planet, is the one that is the furthest from our sun. Nevertheless, the International Astronomical Union declared in 2006 that Pluto is not classified as a planet. It is smaller in size than the moon on Earth. It is located in a belt of asteroids beyond Neptune, and its gravity is insufficient to clear the area around its path, even though Pluto periodically approaches the sun more closely than Neptune. It was consequently designated as a dwarf planet, or a planetesimal. Astronomers are secure in their belief that the solar system was formed through accretion, as they have now observed a comparable process taking place in a portion of the Orion Nebula. This planet-forming region is located on the near side of a massive cloud complex that encompasses a significant portion of the constellation Orion, approximately 1,500 light-years from Earth. Astronomers have identified numerous hundred stars in the process of formation in this region since 1993. The majority of these stars are encircled by dust belts in accretion disks, similar to the disk that they believe is responsible for the formation of the solar system. The planetary systems that may emerge from these clouds of dust and gas surrounding new stars in the Orion Nebula are akin to our own. In conclusion, planets are celestial entities that revolve around a star. Planets are formed by the collision and adhesion of particles in a disk of gas and dust as they orbit the star. The planets that are closest to the star are generally more unstable because the star's wind displaces their atmosphere, and the fact that they are composed of heavier materials that are drawn to the star's gravity. Earth is one of 4 rocky planets in the Sun system, but it is a distinctive one due to its rigid and molten strata. Share in the comments. Please like this video, subscribe to our channel, and hit the notification bell to never miss an update. See you in the future video, and thanks for watching!